Welcome to www.lslproductions.com. I'm David Leaf, and our special guest in studio today is Mr. Brian Wilson. Welcome, Brian.
Hi, David. Welcome to you, too.
Thank you. Brian, the Smile DVD is coming out on May 24th, almost 2 years to the day of when you announced you were going to first perform it in London. Looking back on everything that's happened in the past 2 years, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
First thing comes to my mind when we premiered Smile in London in February of 2004.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I was so scared because I didn't know what to expect, and I was almost ready to vomit or throw up. I was so scared. When we first got on, after we hit our first note, I relaxed. And then I got a 10-minute standing ovation, which made it all worth it.
Before we get back to London, probably one of the scariest things I ever had to sit through was watching you watch the rough cut of Beautiful Dreamer. What were you thinking? What were you feeling as you watched the movie for the first time?
Well, I was in awe of Danny and Van Dyke and David and Early and all those great people. I was in awe of they're great people. They're all great people. So I was a little bit scared to see where they were coming from. But I was okay.
Were you in awe of their verbal skills?
Yeah, I was in awe of their verbal skills. Yes, absolutely.
What did you think about what they were saying?
I thought what they said was very accurate and true and very creative. Yeah.
What feeling did you get from watching the movie the first time?
The first feeling I got was I was very proud to see myself in action, of course, I was very proud of people, the other guys on the thing, and I was proud of you for making it.
Do you have a favorite part of the movie?
My favorite part of the movie is when I played Beautiful Dreamer at the start of the movie.
Why is that your favorite part?
Because it's my favorite song.
That was something you had told me in private. You were playing Beautiful Dreamer one day, and I said, how come you like that song? He said, I love it. And he's even said, Beautiful Dreamer Wake, BDW, Brian Douglas Wilson.
Right.
Does it bother you when something that you've told me in private gets put into a movie like that?
Not at all. I thought you were very creative and very appropriate by having me do that in the movie. I thought it was very appropriate.
Okay. Well, that's good. Were there parts of the movie that were hard to watch?
To tell you the truth, some of the stuff I was watching myself was a little rough for me because I realized I've been getting a little older, and I thought about how I looked a little bit different than I did when I was 24 years old, So seeing myself at 62 years old was a little rough for me to see.
What about the part of the movie where Smile is coming apart and it's almost like there's nothing you can do to stop it as it's unraveling back in 1967? Was that tough to sit through?
It wasn't tough to sit through. It brought back a lot of memories, of course, when we were taking drugs and Van Dyke and I were in action, and stuff like that. But it was in the bag, though. It was in the bag.
The movie ends with the first performance of Smile in London.
Right.
How close were you to actually not going on the stage that night?
I was about 2 inches away from not going on that stage. I was really, I went on stage, but I really didn't want to. I really didn't,
What were you afraid was going to happen up there?
I was afraid I was going to get nervous and blow it, and up. And mess up.
Were you focused on how the audience was going to react to it, or were you just focused on your own performance?
Actually, I was kind of anticipating the response from the audience, yeah.
Now, you knew as an artist, as the composer, how great the music was. So what were you concerned about in terms of the audience's reaction?
I was proud that they liked Surf's Up so much. They loved Surf's Up and Heroes and Villains. Those two they particularly liked the most, and I was very proud of those two songs.
In all your previous concerts to the Smile Tour, you would go out and do a song that might last 2.5, 3 minutes,
right,
and then people would applaud. The first Smile concert was very different from that in that you were playing 20 minutes before the audience even would have a chance to react.
Right. That's the beauty of a Smile. It's an excerpt, a lot of excerpts, and it was hard to sequence it. It really was. Darian Sanaji and I had a tough time sequencing it.
Was it hard those first few shows as you're playing it and the audience is just sitting there listening and you're not sure how they're taking it in?
I wondered that myself, but then after the songs were over and I got such an applause, then I knew they liked it. But during the performance, I didn't know. There was no way to know if they liked it or not.
Are you still experiencing that during the Smile concerts?
No, I'm over that now. I'm over that.
At the end of the movie, you talk about how the demons are gone.
Right.
What did you mean by that?
Well, just that I had auditory hallucinations, for like years and years, and they've gone down to a minimum now, and that's what I meant. They're not gone, but they're down to a minimum. Yeah.
What about the demons of Smile? Was Smile something that dogged you all these years?
No, actually, I dismissed Smile from my mind a long time ago. Yeah.
Knowing how great that music was that hard to dismiss it?
No, it wasn't that hard at all. No, it wasn't hard at all.
Even though every time you did an interview, people would ask you about Smile?
Right. I dismissed it as far as listening to it. I would think the album Smile would come up in my mind a lot, but I didn't really think about the music.
How did playing Smile live chase the demons away?
It helped to chase them away because it was such a powerful piece of music that I think the auditory listeners were very proud of it, and I think it really got to them, psyched them out.
Wow. Now, the reviews from those first London concerts were amazing. When Ronnie or Gene or Melinda brought in and said, "Look at these clippings. Look what they're saying."
I couldn't believe it. I was like, they were pumping my ego. They were actually pumping my ego up and down. Not up and down, but pumping my ego. So that was that. Yeah.
What did it mean to you that the critics were saying this is one of the greatest concerts we've ever seen?
Well, I was proud, David. I was very proud, and I was very, very amazed that someone could say that about me. Very proud.
Was your mind blown by all of it?
Oh, I was totally blown, yeah.
If we go back to 1967, at a time when people were questioning whether Smile was the right move to make.
Right.
Now it's 2004, and basically the audience is in front of you, and the critics are saying, this is the greatest thing we've ever heard. Did that chase the demons away? Did that make you say, you know what, I was right all along about Smile?
No, it didn't chase the demons away. No, it didn't. No, the actual performance of Smile did.
What did it mean to you that people immediately embraced Smile?
Well, it meant that it must have been good enough of an album for people to embrace it like that, yeah. It must have had something special about it.
What sort of a feeling did it cause in your heart?
It gave me a feeling of love. Yeah, it really did.
When you finished those first shows in London, there still wasn't really any talk about making a record of it. Did the confidence you got from how well it was received inspire you to want to go in the studio?
It did. Actually, it did. In fact, my band kept saying to me, Brian, we got to record this. And my wife Melinda would say, you got to record it. It's great. It'll be a great album. So we recorded it, and we took our time. We didn't rush through it. We took our time, and eventually it was done.
Talk a little bit about those recording sessions. You did the tracking at Sunset Sound, where you had actually done some of the Smile sessions there.
Yeah, some of the early original Smile sessions were done there. Yeah, that's why we went back there, to get the vibration of it, to get the vibe of the vibration.
Were you chasing away old ghosts when you were doing that?
I was trying to. Yeah, couldn't successfully do it, but I was trying to.
What was your favorite part of the recording sessions?
My favorite part was doing the instruments, the instrumentation. Yeah, that was my favorite part. Then I liked the leads, then I liked the background voices, in that order.
Talk about the tracking sessions for the band. Are there specific sounds that you got that you love more than anything else? Is there a harpsichord or a...
No, actually the drums. We worked real hard to get the drums to sound pretty good. The drums were the best. The guitars and pianos and keyboards were also much superior to anything we'd ever done.
What about percussion? Nelson really blew your mind one day, didn't he?
Nelson Bragg blew my mind. He's so versatile. He can play any kind of percussion.
What was the hardest part of those sessions for you?
Hardest part was getting the notes right on, make sure that nothing went flat and everything was,
There were 5 days at Sunset Sound. I think it was the second day was not a great day for you. You were having a hard time. Do you remember what was going on?
I had especially a lot of demons and auditory hallucinations that day, a little bit more than usual.
Let's talk about the vocal sessions. These were songs you had originally written and recorded with the Beach Boys' voices in mind.
Right.
And now you're recording them with your band. Did that present any special challenge?
No, I knew that my band could do it better than the Beach Boys. My band is a superior band, period. They're very superior people, very superior.
Talk about timbres of sound in terms of what vocally they're able to do for you as a producer.
They're able to sing not only on key, but they're able to sing very sweetly and very sensitively, which makes them a unique bunch of singers.
How important is it for you that they love you and your music so much that they do exactly what you ask them to do?
Well, they follow direction very well. When I direct them and produce them, they're very sensitive to my leadership.
Tell me about the day when Mark Lynette, who engineered and recorded Smile, gave you the finished mixed down CD and you kind of just held it for the first time. What were you thinking? What were you feeling at that
I said to
moment?
myself, this represents an accomplishment of mine that I hadn't ever done in my life before. And I took it into the house, and we listened to it, and I was thrilled to death to hear it back. I was very relieved because it was a pretty hard trip to do.
Could you believe it that it was finally done?
I couldn't. No, I could not believe it. I said to myself, we actually did this. We actually did it.
When you came back from the first Smile tour, you were really jazzed. When you came back from the second tour in the summer of 2004, you seemed even stronger, even happier. What happened on that tour that seemed to just make you that much better?
Well, we've been experienced. We had done some practicing, some practicing.
The U.S. tour of Smile was quite a trip. Talk about playing Carnegie Hall.
Carnegie Hall, of course, is a very prestigious place to play, as you know, and everybody knows. So we had to be right on because it was Carnegie Hall, So we played an extra special concert that night.
What did you feel when you stepped onto that stage for the first time?
I was scared. I never been, to be there in Carnegie Hall I was in awe of the place.
This was a stage that George Gershwin had played on.
Right, yes.
What did it mean for you to be on the same stage?
Well, when our name is associated with George Gershwin, of course, makes me very proud, and.
Right after the two Carnegie Hall shows, there was a panel that you and Van Dyke and myself and a couple of journalists did at the CMJ gathering. And you were asked how you felt about Smile finally being released. Do you remember what you said?
I said it represents a milestone in my career, and it makes me very happy and confident.
You also said something like, when I saw Smile in the store, my nervous breakdown was over.
That was what I said. My nervous breakdown was over. It represented the climax of my nervous breakdown.
That's a pretty long nervous breakdown.
Yeah, I had about 2-year nervous breakdown.
Well, 37 years.
Well, 37 years, but it got rough the last 2 years.
So facing the music of Smile was a tough trip.
It was, yeah.
Now, is there anything negative associated with Smile anymore?
Only the memory of the bad drugs we took when we were making it. That's the only bad memory.
Okay. You played Disney Hall in November.
Right.
That first night there, I think Melinda, Daria, Delaney, Gloria were all about in the fifth row, and you could, almost directly in your vision. You seemed to be having a great night that night. Were you doing the show as if they were the only ones there?
No, I was doing the show for Tony Asher and Van Dyke and all my friends, too. But mostly my family. Mostly my family.
You've toured Australia,
right,
and Japan. Anything stand out in memory from those shows?
Well, Australia was like our very favorite place we've ever played. The audiences there were outrageously good. Very, very good reaction.
Talk about the Sydney Opera House.
The Sydney Opera House is a very prestigious place to play, of course, It's a world-famous opera house. And we were on that night. We were like all the way on. It was like we were all the way on.
Last year ended with a lot of honors. Smile was on just about everybody's list of top 10 albums of the year. A lot of people put it at the best album of the year.
Yeah.
When you saw lists like that, what did you think?
Well, I was proud, of course, to be associated with other great albums, and I was very moved by it, very touched.
One poll in the United Kingdom not only voted Smile the album of the year, but it voted Smile the concert of the year. How did that feel?
Well, of course, David, that felt good, and I was very, very honored to get something like that. You know that.
As somebody who was never known as a live performer, you went decades without touring.
Right.
A little ironic to be doing the concert of the year, isn't it?
Well, it's ironic, plus it's also very mind-blowing, Totally mind-blowing.
What sort of confidence does it give you when you get that kind of reaction from people?
Well, it gives me a boost. It boosts me up, and it keeps me in a good place. It keeps me happening, yeah.
Now, another great thing that happened in recent months was Smile got 3 Grammy nominations.
Right. And we won one, though. We got one for Best Instrumental, which is Miss O'Leary's Cow, the fire segment. We got one, David. We got one.
When you first heard you had gotten 3 Grammy nominations, what did you think?
I said to myself, if I win any of these, I'll be a lucky man. I said it to myself.
Now, you had received nominations in the past and not won. Were you worried about being disappointed again?
I was worried. I was a little worried, but when I got it, I was real thrilled to death. I was totally thrilled to death.
What were you thinking when you won?
I said to myself, God, I won an instrument. I won a Grammy. I said to Melinda and my friends, Ronnie, Melinda, Gene, I won a Grammy. And they go, woo! They were screaming. They were so happy.
What were you feeling?
Oh, proud, David. Of course, proud and very, very boosted.
Did it feel like a long time coming?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Was it worth the wait?
It was worth the 42-year wait, yeah.
Now, 2 nights before the Grammys, you were honored at the MusiCares dinner. What were your favorite moments that night?
I liked the version of Sail On Sailor, and I liked the version of Don't Worry Baby Baby by Michael McDonald. And they were all great. All 16 performers were fantastic.
Now, Jeff Beck played Surf's Up on guitar. What did you think when you heard that?
I said when he played the melody, he played it right. He played the melody right, but he put a lot of soul into his guitar. So I was kind of blown out by him. He blew me out a little bit too.
Now, Mrs. O'Leary's Cow was a song that people point to as a moment during the making of Smile back in 66, 67, where things started to go downhill.
That right about that time, Van Dyke and I started to say, we're getting too ahead of our time here. We better shelf it.
So here we are 38 years later, and you win a Grammy Award for that piece of music.
Right. It symbolizes a long, long wait for something very great. Waiting very long for it.
Now, the night of the Grammy show, you went on stage with Stevie Wonder and a bunch of great artists
Right.
to do Across the Universe. Talk a little bit about that.
Doing Across the Universe, of course, is one of my very favorite songs John ever wrote. Probably my favorite, actually, that he wrote. Was a rather creative experience. Steven Tyler, he was great that night. He was really. I was honored to be with him, and Stevie Wonder, of course, was fantastic.
You looked so comfortable up there that night.
Yeah.
Did winning the Grammy earlier, and they give you kind of a boost to make you feel?
It made me. There was a little layover from getting the Grammy to doing that thing. There was a little bit of time went by, But I was so pumped up that I was like in a great mood. I was so pumped up.
Great. A few weeks after the Grammys, we went to the South by Southwest Festival. We did a panel and then a screening of Beautiful Dreamer. Last fall, Naris had put on a screening of Beautiful Dreamer, and you watched the movie with an audience then. You watched it in South by Southwest with an audience. What's different about the experience of watching your life with 200 other people as opposed to just watching it on television at home?
Well, watching on television I like because I can concentrate better on it, So I liked it on television better.
When you're sitting with the audience, do you feel like people are looking at you to see what your reactions to the movie's going to be?
No, I don't think so. I don't think people do that. I think people got into it on their own, yeah.
Okay. Last year when I asked you about how long you wanted to play Smile, you said you thought it had about 5 years life in it as a live performance piece.
I think it's got 4 or 5 years in it, yeah.
What is it about this piece of music that makes you say that this is something you want to do for the next 4 or 5 years?
Well, it's like I said, it's a happy teenage symphony to God, and it's a very, very, very fast-moving album. It goes from one thing to another real fast.
Smile has gone gold in the United Kingdom. Worldwide record sales are heading towards 1 million. The concert's one of the best received concerts ever. There's a website, I think it's called Metacritic.com, that for the last 6 or
Right.
7 years has been tracking reviews of albums, and they say in that 6 or 7 year period, Smile is the best reviewed album of every record that's been released in 7 years.
Well, that's got to be something I'm proud of,
We waited a long time to finally get to Smile. Is there another piece of music brewing inside you that you think sometime in the future you're going to come out and blow our minds with?
Yeah, the new Christmas album. Actually, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great.
What about an extended piece?
Oh, I don't know if we'll ever do that again. I don't think we're going to be able to top Smile, David. I don't think we're going to be able to. To me, it can't be topped.
Let's just do a real quick thing through the tracks of Smile and just give me a one-sentence thought on each of the songs,
Okay.
if you would. Let's start with Our Prayer,
Our Prayer is a very sweet and sensitive and loving piece of music.
Heroes and Villains.
Heroes and Villains is probably my favorite of all the songs we did
How come?
because I like the lyrics and the melody.
What's your favorite part of the melody?
When it first starts out. That part.
Roll Plymouth Rock.
Roll Plymouth Rock really depicts Americana. It really does.
What's your favorite part of that?
I like it all. I like every part of it.
Now, in the barnyard, there's some pretty strange stuff going on there. People making animal noises. Where'd you get the idea for that?
Van Dyke's idea. It was his idea to do that, yeah.
He'll tell you it wasn't his idea.
He'll probably tell you it was my idea. I can't remember. It's been about 38 years, right? 39 years.
The Old Master Painter.
The Old Master Painter. I like the sounds really good with those low bass and cellos.
You Are My Sunshine.
You Know My Sunshine is a very sad and sensitive little song that we do,
Now, you made it into You Were My Sunshine.
Right. It was changed because we wanted people to realize what it's like to lose somebody.
Cabanescence.
Cabanescence. I like it because it starts out with a sweet thing, then it goes into a real powerful, heavy rock and roll waltz thing. Bam, 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 bam. It goes from sweet to rock and roll.
That's that Who Ran the Iron Horse section. That's wild.
It's a very wild triple 3/4 thing. It's a rock and waltz is what I call it.
Now, during that, Nick, everyone's singing "Who Ran the Iron Horse," but Nick is singing another lyric completely.
I don't know what Dennis did that on the original. I don't know what he's saying. I couldn't figure out what he was saying.
The second movement starts with "Wonderful." Talk about that.
Wonderful is a sweet song all about a girl who just stays in her little world, you know, and then she bumps into a boy, and then she gets her heart broken, and then she goes back to her wonderful.
A song for children.
Oh, that one. That was a very special little piece, but it wasn't my favorite, you know.
Child is father to the man.
Child is father of the man is a very, very, very deep concept. Child is father of the man. I don't really know what it means, to tell you the truth. I don't even know.
The second movement ends with "Surf's Up."
Surf's Up is probably the best song we ever wrote together. It was Leonard Bernstein's one of his favorite songs, and he did praise to me, gave praise to me for it. And it was a wonderful song to sing because it rambles and rambles and goes all over the place.
From a point of view of music and poetry, talk about how you combine those elements on that song.
We wanted to create a song that people would want to hear over and over again because it was really great.
Is that one of the reasons why Van Dyke's lyrics were so important for you, that they had to be complicated lyrics so people wouldn't get the message the first time?
Yeah, he put them strung it together so people would take like a year even to get it right.
The third movement begins with "I'm in Great Shape."
That is a very happy, happy song. Fresh, clean air on my head, morning tumble out of bed. That was a very happy, heavenly song about heaven.
"I Want to Be Around."
I want to be around. It's just something we put in there for something humorous. I want to be around to pick up the pieces. There was no reason for our doing that. We just did it, you know.
As long as it worked, it didn't.
Right.
Now you go from that into the workshop.
The workshop is a very, very funny concept where we were banging on our saws and banging on our boards and pounding nails, and that was just a very funny, humorous thing.
Just before that starts, you pick up the drill in anticipation of using it on stage.
Right. I just do that because I want people to get ready for that drill, the sound of the drill.
Kind of have like a little devilish smile when you're doing it.
Right.
Because you know what's coming.
Yeah.
Vegetables.
Vegetables is probably the funniest song we have. That song is very. I hope you tossed me a carrot. My tenny flew right off. You know, just a humorous lyric.
Were you ever red as a beet?
No, never.
Never got that embarrassed?
No.
On a holiday?
Sherry, of course. Weigh the anchor, yanking, we will party. That was a very, very funny lyric. Very funny.
Wind chimes.
Wind chimes is one of my very favorite songs that we do, and it's a very sensitive song, all about how it's hard not to look at my wind chimes. And it's a beautiful, beautiful lyric about a very sensitive, tender, and something that feels good to your mind, like the sound of wind chimes.
Any more thoughts on Mrs. O'Leary's cow?
No, just that I know for sure it didn't burn that building down across the street. The building burned down by itself. It wasn't our. There's no logical reason why a building would burn down just because we did a song about fire. So I got over that fear a couple years ago.
Good. In Blue Hawaii.
In Blue Hawaii is probably my very favorite part of the whole album, and it depicts the mood of being in heaven. It depicts the mood of being in Honolulu or Maui or Kona or anywhere, you know.
Now the album cycles back and we hear a piece of Our Prayer reprised, which leads into Good Vibrations. What does it symbolize to you when Good Vibrations starts?
Well, it gives people in the younger generation a shot at listening to Good Vibrations in case they never heard it. And we did a superior version to the Beach Boys version. It's a lot better music and it's performed better. And it just makes people feel good.
At rehearsal, I remember the first day when you decided to use Tony Escher's original lyric. You were pretty excited.
That was my wife Melinda's idea to do that.
You were pretty excited about that.
Oh, I was very excited. I love his lyrics. Better than Mike's, actually. I like his better than Mike's.
When I look back on where we've been in the last 2 years, I feel like we've been living a miracle.
It has been a miracle. It really has.
In your wildest imagination, did you ever think there was a miracle like this on your...
No, I never ever anticipated a miracle like that. Never did.
What's been your favorite part of the whole Smile ride?
My favorite part has been doing the vocals, the voices. That's been my favorite.
Just a couple more questions, Brian. For days, weeks, months, we were there with our camera crew, following you around all the time, vocal rehearsals, band rehearsals. We went to your vocal coach to watch you work. We were backstage. We were in London, following you everywhere. Did Our Camera get on your nerves?
It did for the first week. To tell you the truth, for the first 6, 7 days, I was a little bothered by it, I have to tell you the truth. But I got used to it, and then I realized it's good because it's going to turn out, it's going to and wind up being in something very creative and very good. So I knew it was good for me. So I didn't mind it anymore.
Now, one of the things that Our Cameras caught was when Paul McCartney came backstage to visit you in London during those first Smile concerts.
I was blown out by it. I was also a little bit in awe of the guy, to tell you the truth, a bit in awe of him. But when he told me how much he liked Smile, I relaxed, and it made me feel very, very good. It was a pleasure to meet him and see him.
How important is it that Paul McCartney likes your music?
Well, he's probably my favorite music maker, so that makes me feel, my ego feel real good.
And do you feel like when someone like Paul McCartney is in the audience that it raises the level of what you do?
It makes me get on my feet and make sure I do pretty good on it.
Last thoughts on Beautiful Dreamer from you, Mr. Wilson.
My last thoughts are, I will never, ever get tired of watching it. And I'm very proud of you for producing it, and I'm proud of myself for being in it.